Good evening, race fans, and welcome to another race here with the Velocity Racing League for the 2022 Cup Series. We are here today at Road America for the Dairyland 250. My name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here tonight, 1080p, 60 frames a second, here with Team Goon Squad. Folks, I hope you all are excited and ready for the action here tonight. Back to some road course action. Folks, if you haven't been following us here with the Velocity Racing League Cup Series, you will know that I'm a little impartial to our road course racing. As our qualifying has begun here, drivers are beginning to make their way out onto track and beginning to set the best times that they possibly can here for today's race. Now, before we kind of get into that here, we're going to let drivers get themselves ready and out on track and get a little bit going here. But as they are going and getting that done here, we're going to take a quick look at our point standings here before we get into today's race. Not a whole lot has changed since we saw the race at Iowa. Now, we had quite the different change-up as far as who finished in the top three for last week's race. That's going to be Jaden Hops finishing first, Daniel Mosteller in second, and Sean Williams going to be in third place for that race. So, Howie Briss, Tony Hilbrands, and Nicholas Lavelle all going to be in the top three here. Not a whole lot is going to have shifted here all the way up until really the Sean Williams in fourth place. So the top four, nothing has changed there. Jaden Hopp has moved up one place into fifth at this point in time. Benny Hogan has dropped down into sixth. Scott Shire moved up into seventh. Nick Nickerson up into eighth place. James Coulibaly stayed in ninth place, and James Miller rounding out our top 10 here at this moment. Going to be staying in that 10th place spot here after last week's race. So, keeping that in mind here as we enter into our, oops, that's the wrong one. As we enter into our road course racing here today at Road America, things could get very interesting very, very quickly. Now, I'm expecting to see drivers, just looking at what I was seeing in practice before we went live here, this is a tough course. Especially when you take an ARCA car and put it on this track, it's extremely tough. Now, the drivers have done a phenomenal job at making it look extremely easy, as they always do. These guys and gals are all extremely professional in their driving. So, great to see this league, kind of tackling these road courses with, kind of head on, if you will. Anyhow, we're looking here. We're kind of taking a look right now at Howie Briss, the number 97 machine, just starting, actually, just about a quarter of the way into his first lap here under qualifying. So, Howie Briss is going to be looking to set his first time of the day here. Max Newworth in the number 66 machine also going to be looking to set his first time. Nicholas Lavelle is actually the closest at this point in time to setting the first official lap here today at Road America. So looking at Nicholas Lavelle in the number 10 machine right now, if you'll remember, Lavelle sitting in third place in the championship here at this point in time. He's going to be, getting a little bit loose there. Now, again, Lavelle, he is going to be looking to perform as well as he can here to maintain that. It's starting to get pretty tight here for the championship. We're starting to see points differences well under the 150 mark here. Tony Hilbrand's just about 123 points behind Howie Briss right now, the leader in the championship right now. So Tony Hilbrand's doing a phenomenal job. Also the league owner and, overseer, if you will, of the league here for Velocity Racing League. So doing also a phenomenal job in the car as well as managing the league outside of that perspective here. But continuing on here, it looks like Nicholas Lavelle is about to cross the line here, across the checkered line. Let's see what that's going to bring him for his first time here today. A 2:15.40. Aaron Smith just after Lavelle with a 2:13.59. And look at the time difference between these three drivers at this point in time. Excuse the little bit of a odd switch there between drivers, but Aaron Smith, he is qualifying, looks like about a second and a half, maybe closer to about a second and 3/4 faster than that of Tony Hilbrand's, who actually just qualified faster than Nicholas Lavelle, putting himself into second place here on the timing tower. So already seeing quite a different spread as far as pace here, but we're starting to see where this is going to give us a really good idea of where drivers are going to kind of put themselves once things start to settle out. And Aaron Smith right now is looking like he is extremely dominant here at Road America, so I would expect to see himself, given this qualifying time right now, he is going to see himself with quite the distance between himself and the rest of the field once things are all said and done. But it is the first turn, the first lap is always the hardest, especially here in these road courses. So we're going to have to pay attention to how this field kind of handles this first lap under green flag conditions once we get things going here. So we already have 7 drivers that have qualified currently. The running order right now: Aaron Smith, Tony Hilbrand, Jaden Hopp, Nicholas Lavelle, James Miller, Howie Briss, as well as Sean Williams down there at the bottom in 7th place currently. There are actually at this moment, I believe, 14 or 15 drivers that have showed up for today's race. Given that this is a road course, these cars, again, are not intended to be here on a road course at all. This is purely a... how do I say this? This is more of a test, a challenge, if you will, for the drivers. And frankly, it can be fun when the challenge is done right, I should say. You definitely don't want to be taking these cars somewhere like the Nürburgring. That definitely would be treacherous. The Nordschleife would not be fun in these cars. That is to say the least. Now, we just had a couple other drivers put themselves onto the timing tower here, but it does not affect the other drivers that we listed in the top 7. James Coulibaly as well as Matthew Fitz putting themselves in 8th and 9th place. Other drivers that are currently working their way around the track at this moment: Benny Hogan, who has yet to put himself on the timing tower here, just crossing the line. And he is going to put himself in 8th place here with a 2:17.45 as his best time here today at Road America. Great work there from Benny Hogan. Jaden Hopp able to come across the line with a 2:14.66, able to put himself into 2nd place. And look at that, Aaron Smith with a 2:12.90. Again, ooh, Benny, keep it together there, buddy. Benny Hogan almost getting himself a little bit loose here, as we're going to take a look here at the in-car camera down on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. You can see Jaden Hopp there in that number 81 machine, currently making his way around track, as it looks like Benny Hogan is going to call it a day for qualifying here in that number 5 machine and get himself ready to go for the start of today's race here. We're looking at James Coulibaly on the main screen here in the number 12 machine, currently sitting in 10th place on the timing tower here. Again, a handful of drivers have not made their way out onto track to even attempt a qualifying run here today. I would assume that is because of, well, this is a road course. This is tough. I cannot say it enough. If you have the iRacing service, if you are a subscriber and you have the ARCA car as well as Road America, I know that's kind of an odd combination. If you're just curious and want to find out what it's like to take this car around Road America, go ahead, spin it up, spool it up, get yourself in there. Even if you have like something like a Setta Corsa, anything like that, you could do the same thing, but iRacing already has it there and ready for you. All you got to do is just hop in and, assuming you already have the car and the track, hop in there, give it a whirl. But anyhow, that is going to be wrapping up most of our drivers here for their qualifying runs. And it looks like there is just a few seconds left here before we see the checkered flag fly here for our qualifying for our drivers. James Coulibaly going to be coming across, hopefully coming across the line here. He is, well, actually, I don't think he's going to be able to. With looking at lap times of just over 2 minutes, James not even halfway through the track right now at this point, and just about 15 seconds left to go before qualifying is over. This is more or less just James getting as much time in behind the wheel before we get under green flag conditions here, and the race continues on. But once our qualifying wraps up here, there's going to be a short intermission between the the grid lineup here. So once we have our grid available for us, we will get going with that. But for the meantime, There's going to be a short intermission here while race control gets themselves ready to go and sorted out here before, and there it is. There you can see the white flag already. Race control very, very quick and getting things moving along here for the Velocity Racing League Cup Series. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So, right now, as our grid is available to us, let's go ahead and have a look-see-loo at who is starting where today for the Dairyland 250 here at Road America for the Velocity Racing League 2022 Cup Series, and it's going to be Aaron Smith, the number 70 machine with Satellite Racing, going to be starting off in first place here with Jaden Hopp, the 81 machine, taking second place, rounding out the first row. Tony Hillbrand's the 92, starting off in third place. Nicholas Lavelle in the number 10, taking fourth place here. James Miller, the 09, starting off in fifth place, with Howie Briss, the 97, taking sixth place, rounding out your third row. Sean Williams, the 89, in seventh. Benny Hogan going to be in the number 5, taking eighth place. Scott Shire, the number 4 machine, taking ninth place. James Koulibaly in the number 12 machine, taking 10th place. Matthew Fitz, the number 69, taking 11th. Daniel Mosteller in the 87, taking 12th place here. Moving on down the grid here. Going to be 13th is Michael Ashmore, the number 98 machine. Max Newworth, the number 66, taking 14th. Keith Lee in 15th in the number 61 machine. Patrick Colby in 16th. William Britton in 17th. And Thomas Sewell in 18th. Rounding out the field here as our drivers get started behind the lovely Porsche safety car here today for the first lap, well, unofficial lap here around Road America as they get themselves ready to go here for the start of today's race. Now, I frankly am not too certain what to expect for a race like this. Now, let's go ahead, and I actually want to take a little bit of time here to talk about the last road course that we were at, which actually was Road Atlanta. I don't know how I missed that one. So that happened, and I am getting myself all sorts of confused here now. Anyhow. So, as I was trying to find the specific race that I was looking for, I was unable to do so because sometimes technology can be a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. But anyway, anyhow, indeed, the last time that we were here at Road Atlanta, things were a little bit different. Aaron Smith, well, actually, I say that things weren't actually that different because looking at the top 3 finishers from that race at Road Atlanta last time on April 4th, Aaron Smith took first, Nick Nickerson in second, and Jaden Hopp took third place, Howie Briss in fourth, and Tony Hillbrand taking fifth. So already we're kind of seeing a trend here at Road Atlanta, and I'm not exactly certain, or excuse me, we're at Road America. Wow, I'm getting all sorts of mixed up here. Road Atlanta, Road America, wow, okay. All sorts of mixed up here. But anyway, anyhow, despite the name difference here, the drivers really haven't necessarily changed that much. So, and you could almost kind of say that both Road America and Road Atlanta, I mean, given they are completely different tracks, they kind of drive almost similar in a sense. They're very fast-paced. There's not really a whole lot of tight sections or, you know, crazy chicanes or anything like that. It's a pretty fast track, and I mean, for me personally, I think they're pretty well similar in that regard. But either way, either how, seeing that Aaron Smith up here in first place here at another road course, it's not really too surprising, personally. So with that in mind here, again, knowing that Aaron Smith had the qualifying pace that he had, I am not really too certain what we're going to really expect from the rest of the field here. Things kind of get a little bit wobbly once we look kind of further down. But a couple drivers that we already see, Jaden Hopp, Howie Briss, Tony Hillbrands, I mean, there's a few drivers up here already that I think could contend at least for a podium spot. I'm not exactly certain who's going to be up there fighting for that first place spot here with Aaron Smith, but we'll just have to keep an eye out and see as things progress along, and as the safety car will get itself ready to dive down into pit road, and there it goes as the green flag is about to fly here at Road America for the very first time for the Dairyland 250 with the Velocity Racing League Cup Series. There you see the marshal waving the green flag, and away we go, heading down into turn one, the hardest part of the race. Aaron Smith, Jaden Hobb going to be side by side. Tony Hillbrand's in that third place spot. Ooh, it's getting, oh man, here we go. Look at all these drivers making their way through. Very good work from all of that field there as they continue their way. Heading on down here, we're going to take a... Oh, man, we already got drivers off track here. Who was that? Tony Hillbrands had a little bit of a moment there. Got himself off track, the 92 machine. Going to find himself falling down the grid here all the way to 15th now. Gonna have to bring that pace back if he possibly also can. Now another wonderful section of the track that I'm expecting to see a lot of great action from here. So we're gonna head up to take a look at our side-by-side view, our multicam view actually. We're looking at Jaden Hopp up on top of our screen, currently sitting in 4th place at this moment. Looks like William Britton just had a little bit of a moment here. There you can see on the bottom of your screen the number 64 machine off track there for just a moment. Up top you can see Howie Briss, James Miller, oh, getting a little bit side by side here. Starting to fall back single file here, but back looking at Tony Hillbrands right now, the 92 machine trying to catch up here with Nicholas Lavelle and make that pass into 11th. Tony Hillbrand's going to try and work his way back up into that top 10. Well, really top 3 that he was in at the start of this race here. Aaron Smith already up to a 2-second lead. And it's all not even the second lap here of the 38 laps that we are going to complete here at Road Atlanta. A lot of off tracks that we're seeing here up in the booth. And that is to be expected as drivers are really trying to push the lines here, really trying to keep these cars as fast as possible, using every bit of track that they possibly can here. On the bottom of your screen, you can see Scott Shire trying to move his way up through the field. He's got Max Neuwirth just up in front, just up ahead of him, and look behind him. Nicholas Lavelle, Tony Hillbrands, both duking it out side by side here. Both giving each other a run for their money here as they're charging their way down. I forget what turn this is, but I believe this is heading into turn 5. Ooh. Looks like Daniel Mosteller possibly just had a bit of a moment there. Indeed, it is the 87 machine. Now going to be door to door here with Tony Hillbrands. Little bit of paint going to be scraped off the doors of those two machines. Daniel Mosteller going to retain his 9th place spot here as he's up 3 spots from where he started tonight. Oh, Scott Shire gets a little bit loose. He had to have barely touched the gravel, the sand there. Or maybe just was pushing it a little bit too quickly. William Britton here not having the best night as he continues. The number 64 machine not exactly having the race that he wants to see here tonight. But Nicholas Lavelle, oh man, you can see Max Neuwirth back there, the 66 machine, getting a little bit, oh man. The 9, Patrick Colby, oh, the caution flies. There it is, folks. There it is. That was a nasty nasty crash here, as we are going to go ahead and try and get our replay spooled up here for you folks. This is going to take a little bit of time, as Road America, quite the track here. Just barely over 4 miles in length here, but we are going to go ahead and take a look at our replay here of the incident here between Max Neuwirth and James Colby. And there on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, you can see the live view of what's still happening out on track at this point in the race. You can already see the drivers behind the pace car. Very good work from race control. Oh, and a nasty, nasty collision you can see there from Max Neuwirth, Patrick Colby. That is just absolutely crushing. That is going to bring both of these cars down into the pits, and they're going to have to get those machines worked out as best as they can. Max Neuwirth seeming to have gotten the worst of that contact there. So unfortunate to see those two drivers involved in that incident here today, but hopefully we'll see them back out on track as we get things back to order here, as we continue along with our field, following behind the safety car here for the very first time at Road America, lap 3 of 38. So, with this first caution, we're going to have, another restart, obviously. That's going to give drivers another opportunity to really fight for position again here up towards the front of the field. Now, Aaron Smith, I don't think he's going to be too worried in this situation. Aaron Smith has done a phenomenal job of keeping his distance from the pack right out the gate. The pace is really shown in that number 70 machine. I'm really curious to know what he's doing behind the wheel of that. What he's doing behind the wheel of that number 70 machine to keep that pace as fast as he is. We'll have to ride along with him at some point just to get an idea of what it's like to be behind the wheel of that number 70 machine here with Aaron Smith. But looking along here, a few other drivers have made their way up the grid. James Miller all the way up into second place here. Jaden Hopp down one spot from second into third place now. Howie Briss up into fourth. Sean Williams into fifth. Benny Hogan in sixth. Tony Hilbrand's down into seventh place now from where he started in third place tonight. Daniel Mosteller going to be in eighth place here. And Nicholas Lavelle in ninth. And James Coulibaly in 10th place, rounding out our top 10 here for this next restart. Just a little bit left to go here before we see that safety car dive down into pit lane, and we are back to green flag racing here once more. Oh. Okay, so there was a bit of a fake from Aaron Smith. We didn't see it on the broadcast itself, but I saw it in the timing just for a brief moment. Aaron Smith appeared to have come down pit road, at least was seeming to, and probably at the last minute decided to duck back out, but the rest of the field has not taken the same advice here and decided to come down into the pits instead. So unsure if they're just confident that they need to get something done, they need a fresh set of tires, or what the case may be. Either way, the lights are still on the safety car, so we're still taking it around Road America here. Just a little bit longer before we see that green flag come back out. And frankly, with Aaron Smith Jaden Hopp, Sean Williams, Tony Hillbrand, Nicholas Lavelle, all here in the top 5. This is bound to be quite the exciting race. For Aaron Smith, I mean, it's all about just consistency. How long can he stay out on those tires and, frankly, be able to keep that same time? How much time are we going to see him lose as he's working his way around Road America? Again, the best time that we saw for that number 70 machine for his qualifying was a 2:12, if I recall correctly. So Aaron Smith knows what he's doing around here at Road America. Oh man, look at this behind us. James Coolaball, excuse me, getting a little bit off track there. Woo! Daniel Mosteller almost did the same thing. These cars are very tough. Very, very tough to handle, folks, and especially on a road course. I mean, these things are just not meant to be here. But these drivers just do an incredible job trying to put on the best race they can. It's incredible what they can do here at Velocity Racing League. As I'm getting myself a little tongue-tied. As we are now halfway through the course, and we are going to see ourselves as we make our way through the carousel now. And in just a few moments, hopefully, I do believe we will see the safety car make its way down into pit lane here. And we will see the green flag fly once again here at Road America for the Dairyland 250 for the VRL 2022 Cup Series. Just ever so patiently waiting. Again, this track, 4 miles in length here, folks. It is quite the time that it takes to get the safety car back down into pit lane here. But once we are back to green flag action here, it only takes just over 2 minutes to complete a lap here in one of the ARCAs here tonight. While that, to some sim racers that might be watching this series, be saying, wow, 2 minutes, that is slow for a lap time here at Road America. That is true. That is true. It is not exactly the fastest lap that you would see here at Road America, but nonetheless, it is still quite impressive that these cars are able to make it around Road America here in that time. Okay, so I was mistaken. This is going to be the last lap here around the track before we go back to green flag here. That is my apologies for that. So, as this is going to take a little bit of time here, folks, we are going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we will return with more green flag action here for the Dairyland 250 for the 2022 VRL Cup Series. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we will be back for more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. and welcome back, race fans. We are just about halfway through the course here, and once the green flag drops here, the safety car makes its way back down into pit lane. We see our drivers stacked up here side by side for this double file restart here today. Now, Jaden Hopp going to be, well, thinking about turn one here. Jaden Hopp not exactly going to be in the best spot. Aaron Smith where he wants to be. You want to be on that inside line. You want to be able to hit that curb going into turn one. Keep that momentum going out of turn one, heading out basically towards turn three. It's essentially a straight kind of ish line heading out of turn two and three as well. So either way, either how, Aaron Smith, I expect to see, once he gets clear out of turn one, he's going to build up that pace fairly quickly, I do anticipate. So as we get ourselves ready to go here, we're looking at Aaron Smith kind of the front of the field towards on the top of our screen here, and on the bottom of our screen we're looking at kind of locked on with Scott Shire sitting in 9th place here at this moment. There, the green flag is up in the air, and away we go. We are racing here once again at Road America. Aaron Smith, he goes up high, getting in front of the 81 of Jaden Hopp, taking that line advantage away from him. Jaden Hopp trying to stay up high here. The rest of the field getting nice and smooth through that first turn. Very good work from that field. Love to see it. Just given how difficult these cars can be, you'd almost half expect to see some action here. The 92 machine, Tony Hillbrand's having a little bit of a moment here. He's going to get it sideways there for a moment into the grass. There we see the number 12 as well, James Coulibaly, getting himself into the grass there as well. Nope, that was not James Coulibaly. I believe that might have been a different number there. Anyway, anyhow, you can see, oh, that was the 09 machine, excuse me, of James Miller just in front of Tony Hillbrand's that got loose there just a moment ago. But look at this, James Coulibaly getting a little bit of pressure here from Scott Shire, as Patrick Colby going to have a little bit of a moment here by himself in that number 9 machine here at this point in time. But things getting relatively heated here on this restart. You got Daniel Mosteller trying to give a little bit of pressure here to Sean Williams in that number 89 machine at the top of your screen here. Oh man, as you see a little bit of a battle here on the bottom of your screen. William Britton getting out of the way here for Tony Hillbrand's, as James Miller, the 09 machine as well, getting into a little bit of that action there as we saw just a moment ago. But man, oh man, look at this field. Just trying to do everything that they possibly can here in this race. Lap 6 of 38. It is going to be quite the race here as we cross the line, bringing us lap number 7. And I think for a moment here, I want to bring us a little bit of in-car camera action here from one of our drivers. We're going to go ahead and take a moment to ride on board with Scott Shire on the inside of that number 4 machine, as you can see on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. We're going to follow along here with Sean Williams in the 89 on our main screen here. Sean Williams sitting in 4th place at this point in time. You can see the distance already starting to build between himself and Daniel Mosteller. But Nicholas Lavelle, oh man, Mosteller off track there for just a moment. Sean Williams going to get out of the way. of that number 87 machine. On the inside he goes. Mosteller off track again. Lavelle able to take advantage of that, as well as Howie Briss. That's going to put Mosteller down into 6th place here. Sean Williams into the top 3. He's looking at a podium now. All he's got to do is stay consistent here. And for how long is the question? If you're looking at the right-hand side of your screen, watching Mr. Scott Shire in that number 4 car try and track down James Coulibaly at this point in time, it gives you a really, really great idea of what it's like on the inside of one of these ARCAs here at Road America. It is truly fascinating to see these drivers take a lap here around Road America. But in the meantime, you know, we got quite a lot of different battles happening out on track at this moment. Oh, you see on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, Scott Shire avoiding James Miller there, able to get out of the way in just in time. Man, oh man, we got quite the action brewing up here towards the midfield. Tony Hillbrand's right behind Benny Hogan in the number 5 machine. James Coulibaly just ahead of them in 9th. Scott Shire, who we're riding on board with the in-car camera on the right-hand side of your screen, in that 8th place spot currently as we cross the line, bringing us lap 8 of 38. Just 30 laps left to go for these drivers here today for the 2022 VRL Cup Series. Now, given that we had to take some time during that caution we essentially took 3 laps under yellow flag conditions with the safety car, so that definitely took a little bit of time, given that this is a 4-mile track, so it definitely takes a while before you make it across the checkered line again. But anyhow, these drivers are absolutely making the best of it here at this point in the race, and I gotta say, I'm impressed with what we're seeing here thus far. Here's we're gonna take a little bit of a side-by-side view. We are looking at Nicholas Lavelle, the number 10 machine, sitting in 4th place at this moment, getting real close here to Sean Williams, at least trying to, on the inside, heading through the carousel. He works his way into 3rd place. Whether or not Sean Williams is going to be able to respond back to that, let's find out. We're going to go ahead and switch to the helmet camera there with Sean Williams and see exactly what he's going to do there to respond to Nicholas Lavelle, who just overtook him for 3rd. Lavelle already starting to gain quite the pace here. Speaking of pace, Tony Hillbrand, who we saw, he's had a couple moments here already throughout this race, but he's worked his way back up into 8th place here on lap 8. Very good to see that in the early stages of this race here. You know, we're looking at Aaron Smith right now. Oh, right as I say that, Tony, if you're listening to the broadcast, you need to mute it. You need to mute it, Tony. You can't listen to me while you're racing. It's bad karma, okay? It's bad karma. It's bad juju, man. Bad juju, all right? Tony Hillbrand's nonetheless doing a phenomenal job here at Road America, as the rest of the field, again, all doing the best that they possibly can here, all trying to do whatever they possibly can here, as Sean Williams still trying to get himself back up to that 3rd place spot, as he's just gotten passed by Sean Williams there just a moment ago. That is not going to be ideal here for Sean Williams. Let's go ahead and take a look here at what's happening up here in the top 5 here for just a moment, get an idea of what's happening for some of these drivers here down on track that are kind of sitting in the top 5. We've seen quite the shuffle already between these drivers. I mean, Nicholas Lavelle has shown some pretty incredible pace here. Howie Briss starting to show some real good pace here as well, as he's worked his way up into 4th place. Sean Williams, you know, I'm not sure if he's kind of putting things into reserve a little bit. He's kind of taking things back a little bit here, as it looks like James Coulibaly has had a little bit of a moment here. Got himself off track just a moment ago. was able to get himself back onto track here, sitting in 12th place at this moment. You know, this is something that we've seen a lot here already throughout this race. We've seen a lot of drivers getting themselves just a little bit loose here throughout some of these races. Well, races, I should say race, rather. Again, this is a tough course. It's a very fast course, as we just see. James Coulibaly getting it sideways into the gravel, sand, whatever that is. I think it's sand. Anyway, James Coulibaly now, as he works his way through the carousel, you know, if I go and look through my timing and scoring right now, it is just littered, absolutely littered with off tracks from multiple drivers. I mean, it's not just any one specific driver in general. It's a lot of the field here. Again, pushing the limits of this track, trying to give everything that they possibly can here. Now, while we have the field kind of spread out here, let's take a moment to look at our track map and see just where the field is kind of starting to see themselves, as drivers are really starting to see themselves pretty well spread out. So, looking at Sean Williams right now in the number 89 machine, you know, we can kind of see that pack of cars as they work their way through turn one. This is kind of the densest piece of the pack here, if you will. You can see the rest of the field on the track map here. You can see Aaron Smith all the way up there in first place, heading his way now into turn 5. And just ahead of him, William Britton in 14th is going to be looking to try and get himself as close to another driver as he possibly can. I mean, again, this is just showing you how the difference, rather, of pace amongst these drivers. It takes, one, getting a feel for the track, two, getting a feel for the car on this track, you know, getting a feel for not only left-handers but right-handers as well. You know, there's no banking on any of these road courses, at least most of them, as far as I'm aware. I mean, there's some on the Nordschleifer. There's, I can't think of any others off the top of my head right now, but I'm sure there's others that people could think of. But anyhow, you know, these cars are fairly well designed for banking. They're, you know, we do see them race on flat oval tracks. It's not uncommon. However, when you take them to a road course and you introduce left-hand turn or right-hand turns rather into it, things get a little funky. Things don't work properly the way that they should, and drivers have to work with that. They have to counteract that and really try and do whatever they possibly can to keep themselves as fast as possible here on a track like Road America. But drivers doing a phenomenal job nonetheless here at this point in time. Lap 11 of 38 here for the Dairyland 250. As we've kind of been looking here at Sean Williams for quite some time. Let's go ahead and kind of run through our field now that we've seen quite the distance spread out between our drivers. We're going to start here with William Britton, sitting in 14th at this point in time. You know, we saw, again, if you were looking at the track map just a little bit ago, William Britton here, you know, he is quite the distance between a lot of the field here, and I'm not exactly certain how long it's going to be here before we see drivers like William Britton. Did he just blow his engine? Oh, Will, no, buddy. Oh, man. So there it is. You can see the puff smokes out of the number 64 machine. Let's go ahead and ride on board here with Mr. William here. Oh, man, that engine sounds rough. Oh, that sounds rough. Now, that's tough. You know, that's another thing that you really kind of don't get to see a whole lot of is, you know, drivers kind of having to go through downshifting, upshifting. Now, the thing about sim racing is you can kind of cheat a little bit. Now, when I say cheat, this kind of varies depending on the driver. You know, you'll have some drivers that'll say, oh, you know, H pattern shifters are superior, and then you'll have drivers that'll say paddle shifters are superior, and then you'll have drivers that'll say, oh, well, paddle shifters are too difficult for me, or H patterns are too difficult for me. There's all sorts of different opinions and varying use cases that drivers use in their setups, but that's kind of where things get a little funky for a car like the Arca. So if you are a driver like myself, I only use a paddle shifter. I don't have an H pattern. Now, this can, well, be a little bit interesting sometimes, to say the least. Sometimes, and I say sometimes because, well, it happens quite frequently when I'm practicing. I will admit it. Sometimes you miss a shift. Sometimes you miss a gear, and that's purely because you don't have that physical feedback of going into another gear. Now, this is not to say that the gear selectors that are available on market will imitate a real-life transmission and a gearbox, etc., etc. It purely just gives you the sensation of taking a shifter and moving it into another gear, and so that way you know what gear you are in. Now, paddle shifters, not to knock on them because I use them, I love them, I think they're great. They can be a little tricky. Now, if you are a driver here in the VRL Cup Series here today at Road America and you're using paddle shifters, William Britton might be an example of that here. That might be a situation where you see a driver trying to kind of work with that. It's tough. It's very tough, folks. Especially with these cars. I've driven these cars with the paddle shifter and clutch and everything. It's tricky. It's very tricky. You have to pound on the clutch. Yeah. Long story short, this is not easy by any stretch of the imagination. So, again, things have kind of settled out here. We're not really seeing a whole lot of close action here on track. We're looking at Sean Williams as well as James Miller getting mighty close to one another here for that 5th place spot. We're looking at Benny Hogan trying to get his way up to the 92 of Tony Hilbrand, sitting in 8th place at this moment. So, again, a lot of this field very, very well spread out. I kind of went off on a tangent there after I said I was going to go through the field, and then I started talking about racing with different kind of shifters. I apologize for that, folks. If you can't tell, you know, the passion for sim racing, it's a little high here in the booth here. Gotta love sim racing, man. It's the closest thing that you can get to being there on the track and actually putting some laps in. It's truly a great experience. If you haven't tried it already, get yourself in a rig. You know, if you know someone that has a wheel, has a setup, get yourself behind that thing. Oh, Daniel Mosteller gonna be taking a dirt track in here as he makes his way back onto track here, sitting in 7th place at this moment. Not gonna be hurting for position at this point in the race, as sitting in 7th place, he's up 5 positions from where he started in today's race here. So doing a phenomenal job here nonetheless, as he gets a little bit spicy there. We can see on the bottom of our screen as well, Benny Hogan starting to reel in Tony Hilbrand's here. Starting to get fairly close here. Now, I'm going to take a look here. 18 to 20 laps is what we expect drivers to utilize here for this race. Now, if you'll remember, the first caution that we saw, most of the drivers did come down into the field, as we see Mosteller getting a little loose there once again. All these drivers really pushing it here. Anyway, back to my point. Lap 3. was when we saw a majority of the field come down into pits, and I'll have to assume that they got filled up on fuel and possibly got a new set of tires here. Now, 18 to 20 laps that we're expecting here for the fuel window as we see the 25 laps to go come across our screen. That is a little misleading, as 25 laps here around Road Atlanta takes quite some time. Quite some time indeed. Anyhow. So as we are still looking at our action here, things are fairly well spread out. Again, kind of going back to my point here, as we're looking at working on lap 14 right now, or excuse me, yeah, working on lap 14 right now. What I'm going to expect to see is a lot of this field is going to stay out a lot longer. Well, not a lot longer, a few laps. But that's going to allow the field to kind of shuffle up here, change up the top, probably the top 10, maybe even more, judging by how many drivers actually came down into the pits that first time around, but it's only going to be by a few laps. So I can't imagine that we're going to see any, well, maybe actually. We might see some game-changing moves here, just depending on how pit cycles kind of play out here. So right now we're looking at Benny Hogan and Tony Hillbrand's kind of duking it out at this point in the race. We're going to go ahead, and now we're going to go through and kind of talk about some of the drivers here that have kind of fallen back here towards the back of the field, but are still competing nonetheless and doing a phenomenal job despite everything. James Coulibaly, there you see on the bottom of your screen here, sitting in 12th place here at this point. You know, James has he's seen himself in a couple different incidents and really was showing some pretty good pace here throughout the start of the race here. But again, this is a very tough course for all of these drivers. I mean, even for Aaron Smith, ignoring his now almost 10.5 second lead over Jaden Hopp at this point. Aaron Smith just absolutely crushing his performance here tonight at Road America. But nonetheless, James Coulibaly also trying to do everything that he can, and despite having fallen back here into 12th place, he's running just about, well, he's actually got quite the distance to close between himself and Matthew Fitz right now, who sits just about, looks like 8 seconds or so ahead of James Coulibaly. Speaking of Matthew Fitz, the 6'9" machine sitting in 11th place here at this point in the race. Matthew, we haven't really seen a whole lot of the 6'9" here, you know, and that could just be that probably one of the drivers that not really too confident here on the road courses. It's definitely something that it takes time. It definitely takes time. If you're not familiar with it, if you're used to just being on ovals, or if you're just used to being on road courses, it can be a little tricky, kind of converting between one or the other. I even find myself, you know, even both in oval and road course racing, you know, trying to find that perfect line, trying to find that pace that all the fast guys are putting down. You know, it's tough. It's very, very tough. But Matthew Fitz here doing a phenomenal job holding on to 11th place here at this point in time. And if he continues on this route, he'll be able to keep that momentum going. And depending on how things kind of shuffle out here, Fitz also did come down into the pits on lap 3. So he could put himself in a very good spot here once things are all said and done, once the rest of our field on the lead lap here make their way down into pit lane. But that could take a little bit of time here before we see that happen. So we'll just have to keep an eye open for that as things progress on here. But looking along here, we actually got some action forming here between James Miller and Howie Briss at this point in the race as they just crossed the checkered line. But moving on along here, we got Scott Shire, who, frankly, we saw competing quite strong towards the beginning of the race. You know, we saw him moving and grooving towards the front of the field, and ultimately kind of backing off, it seems like, kind of just taking a moment to really get a feel for things. As right now, sitting in 10th place here at this point in the race, doing an incredible job here. You know, he was able to take advantage of that restart that we had for that first caution. And Scott Shire here, actually, now that there we go. That's what I was looking for. Scott Shire sitting in 7th place in the championship here at this point in the race, or in the season. You know, again, we can see drivers that are going to have some bad races, you know, and particularly at these road courses where you might see some not so great racing out of some of these drivers. We've definitely heard it from certain drivers that it's not their favorite thing to do, that they would prefer it not be on the schedule to begin with. You know, and that goes for real life. NASCAR, I mean, you take any oval racing car and you try to put it on a road course, things don't usually go that well. And you definitely see that both in the real world as well as here in the sim world. And the opinion kind of varies, you know. Again, some drivers love it, some drivers hate it, some drivers don't really care. That's, again, it's up to, the opinions are all over the place, but the driving, the racing is definitely something else to witness here, as we don't normally get to experience this. This is something you don't get to see on real life television, where, you know, we see ARCA's racing on Road America. You know, we got a great battle here side by side with Howie Briss and James Miller charging their way into turn 1. Man, oh man, Howie Briss backing off there, kind of just letting James Miller on by through that one here as well. So not really taking too many risks that time around for Howie Briss in that 97 machine. Next driver up here as we work our way through the grid here. Benny Hogan in the number 5 machine. Benny Hogan, a very, very strong contender here in the championship. Benny Hogan just ahead of Scott Shire, sitting in 6th place at this moment. He was pushed down into 6th place by Jaden Hopp, who currently sits in 2nd place at this point in the race. So Benny Hogan, you know, after last week's race at Iowa, last week's race at Iowa, Benny Hogan also took 7th place in that race. So not really the best couple weeks here that we've seen here for Benny, and not really certain what we're going to see for the number 5 machine as the season goes on. I mean, 1 or 2 races, again, not really the worst thing that could happen to you. And frankly, for Benny, you know, looking at the championship right now, there's plenty of drivers that are sitting in the top 5, even the top 10 in the championship standings, that haven't even won a race, haven't even been on pole, and maybe only been in the top 5 a few times, and the top 10 a handful of times as well. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to win a race week after week to be a contender in the championship. Not to knock on Aaron Smith here, but Aaron Smith has won 4 races here in the season, but sits in 15th in the championship. That just goes to show you don't have to win every single race to be a leader in the championship. So Aaron Smith here, again, and he's only started 9 races out of the season here thus far, so either way, either how, the 70 machine has just done an incredible job in every race that he's shown up to. And it looks like we have a driver down into the pits. It's James Miller, the 09 machine, looking to possibly be starting our pit strategies here for tonight's race. As I look away from the chat for 1 minute and... Anyway. James Miller here, the 09 machine, I believe might be the first driver to be starting today's pit stops. As we do have a driver getting themselves a little bit off track there. Benny Hogan, the number 5 machine that we were just talking about a moment ago. Getting himself into the sand there for just a moment, but back onto track and charging his way to Tony Hilbrands, who is next up on the list here. Tony Hilbrands says, ooh, we've got a caution out actually. I'm not certain if this was a... What could have possibly happened here? We're going to take a look at the Team Goon Squad instant replay as you continue to look at the action on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. For the replay, we're looking at Benny Hogan here. Not exactly certain what happened here. So just one more moment. We're going to try and look at another angle here and see if we can spot exactly what unfolded here. Maybe it was possibly James Miller. Oh, big lockup there from the 09. But no harm, no foul out of that one. Let's see what happened here with Benny Hogan, if we can spot what happened here for the number 5 machine once again. Off track, into the sand. Back on track. Okay, so either I'm missing something, and it could very well be that I am missing something, because I was informed before the beginning of the race that race control was instructed to throw the caution once drivers were near the finishing line. That was to reduce the time. Ooh. Okay, so there it is. That is the reason for the caution right there. Michael Ashmore getting a little bit sideways, does a burnout to get himself corrected back out onto the correct direction here on track. The 98 machine here going to be the cause here of the second caution here tonight for the Dairyland 250. There we can see on the bottom right-hand screen our drivers still getting themselves stacked up behind the safety car and ready for their next start here for the Dairyland 250. And while they do that, this is a perfect time to take a commercial break up here in the booth. Stay tuned, folks. Don't go anywhere. We have more action here for the Dairyland 250 and more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back. Welcome back, race fans. It would appear that we still have the safety car in tow here. If I am not mistaken here. There it is, all the way. Wow, it is really far ahead. Okay, so it looks like they might have possibly... Actually, I'm not sure what they might have done here. I know that the field did come through pit road just a moment ago. You saw it on your screen there just a few seconds ago. Aaron Smith, Nicholas Lavelle, and a bunch of other drivers here came in on lap 19 with just 19 laps left to go. And there is the safety car, so we can see actually that the lights are indeed still on. So we will have another probably two laps before we see the safety car come back down into pit lane. So, with that in mind, let's go ahead, take this time, and let's talk about... Oops, that again, I keep hitting that button. Let's talk about our point standings here at this current state of the race. So, Aaron Smith, again, not exactly contending for any spot in the championship. He's more or less just having fun, enjoying the racing, and performing extremely well. So Aaron Smith here just more or less just having fun and really giving drivers something to kind of set a goal for, if you will, set a standard for, in a sense. Not exactly something to set in stone, but definitely something to try and work towards, if you will. The pace out of that number 70 machine has just been absolutely incredible here tonight at Road America. But anyway, moving on down to drivers that are in kind of contention for the championship here. Nicholas Lavelle sitting in third place right now in the championship is sitting in second on the grid at this point in time. Jaden Hopp going to be fifth place. I might be... Nope, that is correct. Okay, so yes, Jaden Hopp. I got a little confused there for a second. Jaden Hopp sitting in fifth place here in the championship. Third place on the grid, Benny Hogan going to be eighth place on the grid, sixth place in the championship. So kind of a little bit of a weird shuffle that we've got going on here. But for Howie Briss, he's going to be looking pretty comfortable here, I would have to say. However, Tony Hilbrands is definitely going to be kind of chipping away at that lead. Let's take a look at last week here. I want to see what kind of points were given to our drivers here. So, for last week's race, Jaden Hopp came away with a total of 192 points for that race. Daniel Mosteller with 175, Sean Williams with 165 for that third place spot here. Now, Tony Hilbrands is just 123 points behind the leader of Howie Briss at this point in time. So, what I'm kind of starting to see here, folks, is this championship is starting to close in very, very close. It's race by race, but it's getting so close, folks. It already is close. It's just that points gap that we're looking at right now, I feel, is only going to get probably smaller, I would have to say. You know, it's only a matter of time, I have a feeling, before we start to see Howie Briss, Tony Hilbrands, Nicholas Lavelle, Sean Williams, Jaden Hopp. I mean, all of these drivers here, even Benny Hogan, all of these drivers here are all very, very close to one another to be able to really put on a good fight. A seven-way battle almost for the championship. This is, I mean, we've still got a long season ahead of us here, folks. I don't even think we're actually halfway through the season yet at this point. Let me actually double check that here. No, we are not. So 3 more races and then we will be halfway. Once we get to the Texas 250 on June 27th, that is when we will be halfway through our season, if you will. So keeping that in mind, you know, this is already building up to be a very, very exciting battle here for the championship. If you're Howie Briss right now, if you're Tony Hilbrands, if you're Nicholas Lavelle, Sean Williams, Jaden Hopp, Benny Hogan, I mean, I would be fired up right now. This is an absolutely... it's tense, to say the least, as far as the championship is concerned. Now, you know, for a lot of these drivers, it's not that serious. And frankly, for a lot of the leagues that we cover here on Team Goon Squad, it's usually not. It's most of the time it's not that serious. But everyone here, everyone behind their wheel right now, has one thing in common. They like to win. I like to win. Do you like to win? It's great. I don't always do it, but I like it. It's fun. It's great. And I think that for all of these drivers here, you know, that are sitting in that championship spot right now, in that kind of close battle spot, if you will, with the way things are kind of shaping up, this is going to get spicy here very, very quickly. I'm excited, though. I am very excited. All right, folks. There we see the safety car making its way down into pit lane. And the green flag is up by the marshal. Aaron Smith, Nicholas Lavelle, going to be side by side on this restart, and away the green flag flies. Heading off into turn one. Let's see what these drivers have in store here today for this second restart. Oh, very clean from all the field there. All stacked up here very, very close to one another. You can see Howie Briss helmet camera on the bottom right-hand side of your screen in that number 97 machine. You see him on the inside as they work their way in through, I believe that is going to be turn 5. Out of turn 6, we're locked on here with Aaron Smith at this moment. Looking on back further down the field here, we got Benny Hogan, James Coulibaly, Matthew Fitz, Michael Ashmore. All kind of strung out here towards the back of the field. Most of these drivers starting to fall single file here on this restart as well. Very interesting to see that, you know. Frankly, it's probably just knowing, these drivers knowing just how difficult this track is and not really wanting to take a whole lot of risk here, as there's only 17 laps left to go, and I say only 17. That is probably going to feel like an eternity to these drivers. Look at this, Matthew Fitz catching up to the rear end of Benny Hogan, James Coulibaly just ahead of that number 5 machine. Let's take this moment here, since we haven't had a whole lot of opportunity to look at some real action here on the inside of these cars, with traffic at least. Let's ride on board here with Benny Hogan. Ooh, I want to watch this here as they work their way through turn 1. Benny Hogan riding the curb nice and smooth. Able to hold on to 10th place here. James Coulibaly giving him all that he can here to hold on to 9th place. Not able to do it here. Almost a touch to the rear end of that number 5 machine. Matthew Fitz right on the tail of James Coulibaly. This is quite the fight here for 9th place. Again, let's ride on board here with Benny Hogan for just a moment, and let's have a listen to what goes on the inside of one of these cars as Matthew Fitz gets a little loose. He goes sideways. Matthew Fitz not having the best time here as he comes out of turn 5. Gets it sideways, brings it back onto track here, puts himself into 11th place. That is not ideal here for Matthew Fitz, and not, oh man, James Coulibaly as well, suffering a little bit of the same fate here. James Coulibaly appeared to have had a moment there, getting himself involved with in an incident by himself, it seemed like. But up here towards the front of the field, Howie Briss, Daniel Mosteller, Nicholas Lavelle, all duking it out here for the top 4 spots at this moment. You can see Aaron Smith just about 3 seconds ahead of the rest of the field here at this point in the race. 16 grueling laps that we have left here at Road America. Howie Briss trying to do all that he can here. The championship leader sitting in 2nd place right now. Daniel Mosteller going to be looking to try and push his way up here into that 2nd place spot. Daniel Mosteller, another one of those drivers here that not exactly competing for any points in the championship. Daniel Mosteller 20th right now on the championship as he's only had 6 starts to the season. So not really going to see a whole lot of competition there for Daniel as far as the championship, but as far as racing and as far as wanting to put himself as high up the grid as he can, Mosteller has shown that he is quite the driver to reckon with. And I think now is the perfect time to ride on board here with Nicholas Lavelle now instead and have a moment here with the number 10 driver for just a few turns here, rather. Let's not say a whole lap, that might take a while. But let's have a listen and enjoy the sights and sounds here with Nicholas Lavelle here around Road America. Great driving here for Nicholas Lavelle in the number 10 machine. Oh man, right as I say that, rear end wanting to get away from him there for just a moment. But you also saw there as well Daniel Mosteller also getting a little bit wobbly there for just a moment, able to recover it there and keep himself out on track as this field is starting to really get spread back out here again on this second restart. Starting to see a little bit of that separation here throughout the grid. We're looking at Nicholas Lavelle in 4th place here at this moment, so we're kind of looking at the top 5 on the top of your screen. And on the bottom, you can see Jaden Hopp as well as Sean Williams just behind them in 7th and 6th place, respectively, here at this point in the race. So kind of seeing a little bit of separation here between a lot of the field here, like I just mentioned. And, oh, man, Lavelle, as he gets a little bit loose and into the sand, coming into turn 5. You can see Lavelle falling back into 7th place now. And Lavelle, that was quite the run that he had here as well. Very unfortunate to see that happen here for the number 10 driver here at this point in the race. Now, as I was mentioning, you know, we've got quite the field that's starting to see a little bit of separation as we continue along here. So Scott Shire all on his lonesome at this point in time. You know, he is sitting in 9th place at this point in the race. He's got Benny Hogan just ahead of him, sitting in 8th place at this point in time, but it's 12 seconds to the number 5 driver at this point in time. And right now, I don't think that these drivers, they're not going to have to come down into the pits again before this end of the race. So it's pretty much where you are is where you stand, I would have to imagine. Maybe they come down pits one more time, but I highly, highly doubt it. On the right hand of your screen, meanwhile, you can see Sean Williams starting to close in on the rear end of Jaden Hopp. You can see Nicholas Lavelle also stacked up in the mix there. But looking up here, we got a battle for second place that is heating up here. A three-way battle almost. Tony Hilbrand's almost getting himself up here into the mix as we had a driver getting himself off track. Sean Williams, the 89 machine, just behind them. As Daniel Mosteller, Howie Briss, Tony Hilbrand's work their way through the carousel. We have an onboard camera from the inside of Tony Hilbrand's number 92 machine. These guys are absolutely sending it. Tony almost getting himself a little bit loose. Or almost losing control of his car there. Able to keep it together. Now he's got to regain that pace that he just lost. And that can take quite some time. Again, this track quite fast in nature, and it takes quite a bit of time to mitigate all that time that you lose making mistakes like that. I mean, it's almost inevitable. This track, this car combination, it's not easy, to say the least. Any road course with this car, it's not easy. It's not easy in any way, shape, or form. But again, these drivers make it look easy. They do a phenomenal job of just looking absolutely impressive out there on track. So, got to give credit to them where credit is due. And with 12 laps left to go, Max Neuwirth, here that it's going to flash across our screen there. Oh, there he is up on top there. The number 66 machine getting into the grass there for just a moment. You can see that number 66 having a little bit of paint missing there. Oh man, look at that front end. He's definitely going to be hurting around track here, it seems like. And now that he's starting to see a little bit of traffic come up behind him with Daniel Mosteller tracking him down at this point. You know, this kind of traffic too, it's not exactly ideal in this situation where you're kind of on the lead lap. Max Neuwirth is down a few laps here at this point. Going to be trying to do all that he can to get out of the way of the drivers on the lead lap, and there he goes into the wall. Now going to be trying to get himself back onto track here. Michael Ashmore making his way down into pit lane, and we've also got, never mind. Michael Ashmore is the only driver down in pit lane there. It's flashed for a moment that it looked like Benny Hogan was down there for just a moment. Not sure why, but anyhow, Michael Ashmore's down here into the pits. Tony Hilbrand's getting a little bit of pressure here from Jaden Hopp. The action still continues to brew up here at Road Atlanta for the Dairyland 250 for the 2022 VRL Cup Series. So right now with 11 laps to go, let's go ahead and run through our top 10 here at this point in the race. Aaron Smith absolutely dominating his performance here tonight at Road Atlanta after Road America. Excuse me, I got the two confused again. Here at Road America, he's showing his dominance as well, coming from his performance at Road Atlanta, where he took away a win there as well. So again, Aaron Smith not contending for the championship, but rather just contending for wins, essentially. And if he continues on his pace right now, that'll be 5 wins for the number 70 driver here in the VRL Cup Series. So great to see Aaron Smith just showing his colors here, race after race that we see him in competing here for the VRL Cup Series. And Daniel Mosteller sitting in second place here at this point in time. Daniel going to be not necessarily kind of in the same position as Aaron Smith here, not contending for the championship spots, but is competing for top positions here in this race. He's actually come away with 1 win already this season. If he comes away with, well, if he comes away with a second place finish here, he will come away with a pole finish as well to add to that list of finishes here for his record of the season thus far. Howie Briss, currently our championship leader, sitting in third place in this race at the moment. He's doing a phenomenal job just trying to hold on to that third place spot, really just trying to hold on to a podium spot in general here at this point in the race with 10 laps to go. Jaden Hopp sitting in fourth place. Jaden starting to get himself up there into contention for some pretty interesting spots in the championship. He's currently sitting in fourth place. I'm very curious to see how the championship is going to shake up after today's race. I mean, the top 4 didn't change after last week's race at Iowa, but this race, I don't know. I'm almost expecting to see Howie Briss. We're going to see Howie probably stay up there in that first place spot here in the championship, given that he's sitting in third at this moment. Tony Hilbrand's could possibly, well, actually, kind of looking at things right now, it might not actually change at all just based on where drivers are currently finishing. And looks like Jaden Hopp just had a little bit of a moment here as well. all sorts of action here still unfolding on our screens at this point in time as, you know, drivers... Oh, man, Tony Hilbrand's right there. Perfect example of it, trying to take every inch of the track and use it to their advantage. But it sometimes proved to be easier said than done. As we continue to watch the battle unfold on top of our screen between Tony Hilbrand and Nicholas Lavelle, we can see Benny Hogan and Sean Williams starting to get ever so closer to one another here on the bottom of our screens. And with 9 laps left to go, man, oh man, I was kind of hoping to see some shuffling here, really some changes here for the championship, but it looks like the way that drivers are kind of set up right now, I don't think that's going to happen. The top 4 are basically where they would need to be to retain those positions in the championship. So I don't know. I'm not exactly certain what to expect here. I mean, Howie Briss, 3rd place right now. Tony Hilbrand's in 4th. Nicholas Lavelle in 5th. And looks like Jaden Hopp going to be in 6th place here. I mean, this is... And Sean Williams right behind. They're literally stacked up where they would be on the championship lineup. So, I mean, with the exception of Jaden Hopp here, you'd have to swap him with actually both. You'd have to swap him with Sean Williams in order to put them in the right spot. But either way, either how, that it's incredible. So there might actually be a change up here for the championship. But either way, either how, that's enough talk about the championship. That's a long ways away down the road before we even have to start worrying about that here at this point. But at this, looking with 8 laps left to go, you got to be wondering what some of these drivers have got to be thinking as far as what can we do. I mean, really all any of these drivers are going to be doing at this point is just trying to click off laps, keep them clean and green, and keep the steady going racing that we've seen so far throughout this race here already. Looking here, we have Tony Hilbrand and Howie Briss duking it out. Or excuse me, Nicholas Lavelle duking it out. We got Nicholas Lavelle's helmet camera on the bottom right-hand side of our screen here. Lavelle getting mighty close here to the 92's bumper as they work their way through the carousel. Lavelle, he is showing that he can follow extremely closely here on these road courses and keep that pace just like the rest of the field here. And frankly, Lavelle has shown all race long that he's got what it takes to be able to contend up here for a top 3, right now a top 5 finish at the very least. Oh Oh man, you can see it on the bottom of your screen. Lavelle almost getting it sideways there. Keeping it together, but now he's starting to see a little bit of pressure here from Jaden Hopp just behind him. The number 81 car starting to, well, see what he can do here in the final 7 laps of the race here tonight. So our field very calm, very steady here at this point in the race, and frankly at this point quite spread out, to say the least. If you're looking at the bottom right hand side of your screen, you'll see just exactly what I'm talking about here. As a few of our drivers have already made their way out of the race here already. Keith Lee, Patrick Colby, William Britton, James Miller all have taken it behind the wall and decided to call it a night here for the Dairyland 250 for the 2022 VRL Cup Series. Aaron Smith right now with just almost 20 seconds of a gap here between himself and Daniel Mosteller. Daniel, on the other hand, he's starting to see Howie Brisk close in on him ever so slowly. Howie Brisk saw just a second ago he was starting to close in to just under a second here to Daniel Mosteller, but Daniel here trying to pull out all the stops here and really maintain his pace and try and stay up here towards the front. Oh, Mosteller almost getting it out onto the grass there. Oh, Lavelle. Oh, no, Lavelle. He almost gets it loose. He keeps it on track, but that's going to come at a loss. You'd see it on the bottom of your screen. Nicholas Lavelle getting overtaken by Jaden Hopp in the number 81 machine. And that is exactly, as a driver, what you would want to... You're kind of anticipating, you're hoping for, is the driver to make a mistake in front of you and able to capitalize that and get yourself into that spot and put yourself in a better position. There, you just saw it on the top of your screen. Daniel Mosteller getting into that sand just for a moment, but that moment allowed Howie Brisk to stack back up here to the rear end of the number 87 car. And back on the charge he goes, trying to see what he can do here with only 6 laps left to go here at Road America. Oh man, Tony Hilbrand's on the bottom of our screen, almost gets it into the grass and almost into the wall there, able to recover it. Tony Hilbrand's now going to be trying to stack back up here on the chase here with Jaden Hopp. Nicholas Lavelle also involved in the mix here. 5 laps left to go here, folks. This is, man, you know, it's still quite a bit of time left until we see the checkered flag fly here. But it has been an absolutely incredible race all the way leading up until this point. Up to this point, rather. Daniel Mosteller off into the grass on the top of your screen there for just a moment. Howie Briss, that is exactly what he was hoping for. Able to push himself up into second place now. Howie Briss going to be coming away with a second place finish here in tonight's race, and that is going to give him an even more bit of a cushion here in the championship lead. Daniel Mosteller sitting in third now is going to be trying to work his way back to the 97. See if he can make the same thing happen here to Howie Briss, but that might be easier said than done. As we're watching here, Nicholas Lavelle, Tony Hillbrands, Jaden Hopp. This is kind of the battle to see here at this point in the race with only 5 laps left to go. Now, this has just been, you know, for these drivers, I feel you never really know what to expect coming into these road courses. I mean, you can almost expect that it's going to get pretty well spread out, but the fact that we're sitting here watching a 3-way battle, Lavelle, for 4th place right now, you know, it's kind of a shocker for me personally. You know, you'd almost expect to see some pretty gnarly gaps, and we already do see that here in this race already, but given that we're 4 laps left to go here, lap 34 of 38 right now, Jaden Hopp gets it a little bit loose here. He recovers it. Man, oh man. He is fighting that machine right now. We're going to ride here with Tony Hillbrands on the bottom of your screen here as he tracks down Jaden Hopp, trying to get himself as close as he possibly can, set himself up for a pass. I just love the speed that we're seeing out of these drivers. Right now, drivers working their way around the track about 150 miles an hour at this point. Top speed's about 170 on the longer straights. But nonetheless, these guys are still booking it here at Road America. And it's 3 laps left to go here as Aaron Smith has crossed the line, bringing us to lap 35 of 38. Man, as we ride on board with Lavelle on the bottom right-hand side of our screens. You saw him almost get a little bit loose there for a moment, able to recover it and keep things together. Oh, Jaden Hopp, he tried to be so careful working his way through there. Not able to hold it. Oh, man, that has got to be crushing here for Jaden. No, Jaden. Oh, man, you know, and he was holding on to that 4th place spot for so long and really driving the wheels off of that 81 machine. It's really surprising, you know, with how tight these guys were battling, how long he was able to hold on to that position for, just given the circumstances. Impressive work here from Jaden, despite, you know, falling back here to 8th place. He had an incredible run up there, and frankly, you couldn't really ask for a better what am I trying to say here? A better battle. I don't know what else I was trying to say there just a moment ago, but whatever it wasn't a sentence. Oh, Jaden, come on, keep it together, buddy. Man, oh man, it's 2 laps left to go. Aaron Smith just crossed the line just a little bit ago. As Jaden Hopp here still fighting that 81 machine. It's 2 laps left to go. You see Nicholas Lavelle and Tony Hilbrands on the right-hand side of your screen. That is a heck of a shot right there as they work their way into turn 1. Ooh, they make contact with each other. They keep it together. Man, oh man, that was quite the contact between those 2 drivers. I almost expected one of them, or both of them almost, to get loose and send it spinning. Oh man, Lavelle absolutely driving the wheels off of the number 10 machine as he tries to get as close as he can to Tony Hilbrands. Another driver here that oh man, James Coulibaly, that we seen earlier on at the beginning of the race, who had quite the performance towards the beginning. Not quite where he wants to be at this point, sitting in 11th place right now. He's found himself pretty well spread out from the rest of the pack here, just about 7.5 seconds from 10th place driver Matthew Fitz in the 69 machine. But taking a look here, the left-hand side of your screen, we haven't really paid attention to Aaron Smith really all race. We've kind of just let Aaron do his thing here. We expected to see the number 70 machine just kind of take away the lead here, and really that was kind of the end of it there for anyone else trying to get up there into first place. But Aaron Smith, you know, he's had an incredible, absolutely incredible race here tonight. Working the gap that he's had all race long, about 21.5 seconds between himself and Daniel Mosteller, who's currently duking it out with, actually he's not duking it out with anyone. My apologies. Daniel Mosteller, anyhow, you know, sitting in 2nd place right now. No one really has been able to match the pace that Aaron Smith has had here tonight. It's just, he has been incredibly dominant here at Road America, and the same was to be said for his performance at Road Atlanta as well. So both races, you know, we've seen that number 70 machine just absolutely crush it here, and we'll have to ask him just, you know, well, you can't really ask him the same question twice in a season, I suppose, but even though I've kind of already done that a few times. Anyway, we're going to ignore that. Anyhow, it's the final lap here. Aaron Smith now working his way through the carousel section of the track, and it's going to be just a few more turns before he sees that checkered line, and it's going to be the end of the race here for the number 70 machine as well as the rest of the field once they work their way across that checkered line. Still following along with Nicholas Lavelle, still trailing behind Tony Hilbrands in that number 92 machine on our right-hand side of our screens. here at this point in the race. A little bit of lap traffic here from the 56 machine. That was either 56 or 66. I couldn't tell. I think that was 66. Either way, lap traffic not going to be too much of a hassle there for these drivers here on the final lap. But Aaron Smith going to be coming away here with his 5th win for the season. I believe his 2nd or 3rd win for a road course here with the VRL Cup Series. And there he goes across the checkered line. The 70 machine, Aaron Smith, the winner here at Road America for the Dairyland 250. The next battle that we have up on our screen, Daniel Mosteller, Howie Briss duking it out here for the 2nd place spot. They're going to come across down the straight here. Who's going to come across the checkered line, taking home 2nd place? Daniel Mosteller, Howie Briss. It's by inches. Mosteller taking 2nd place. Howie Briss in 3rd by only just a few hundredths of a second. That was a very, very close battle here for these drivers, as Tony Hilbrand's now going to be working his way across the checkered line, with Nicholas Lavelle following closely behind Sean Williams, Benny Hogan, as well as Jaden Hopp, also making their way across the checkered line here. What a race here we had today, folks. That was just absolutely phenomenal what we saw here today for the Dairyland 250 here at Road America, as we await our post-race results as the rest of the field makes their way across the checkered line. We're going to take this moment to take a quick commercial break here, folks. And when we come back, we will have our post-race results, and we will get started with our post-race interviews. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we will be back for more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. Welcome back, folks. Our post-race results are here. Let's run through them real quickly. Aaron Smith taking home the win here tonight as he burns it down on the finish line. Daniel Mosteller taking home 2nd. Howie Briss in 3rd. Tony Hilbrand's taking home 4th place here tonight. Nicholas Lavelle in 5th. Sean Williams in 6th. Benny Hogan in 7th. Jaden Hopp in 8th place. Scott Shire in 9th. Matthew Fitz in 10th. James Coulibaly in 11th, Michael Ashmore in 12th, Max Newworth in 13th, James Miller in 14th, William Britton in 15th, Patrick Colby in 16th, Keith Lee in 17th, and Thomas Sewell taking home 18th here tonight. So, as we get ourselves ready for our post-race interviews, up first is going to be Mr. Howie Briss in the number 97 machine here tonight. And let's go ahead and get Mr. Howie Briss up here in the booth with us. Howie, sir, do you have a read?
Yeah, gotcha.
Howie, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on your 3rd place finish here tonight. You know, this was kind of an interesting race here tonight, Howie. You know, you're holding on to the lead right now for the championship. And right now, you know, Aaron Smith, Daniel Mosteller, not really drivers to worry about, as they're both just here, just having fun. Aaron Smith, really just kind of the road course dominant driver here with VRL. Daniel Mosteller showing his stripes here as well on the road course here at Road America. Again, you're able to put yourself on the podium. How are you feeling about this season right now? Given that things are starting to get a little tight for the championship. I mean, we've got Tony Hilbrand's up there in second place, Nicholas Lavelle in third, Sean Williams in fourth. I mean, how are you feeling right now that, this season is starting to get pretty tense here for the championship?
I just try not to think about it too much. I mean, Tony tries to get in my head a bunch of times, but I don't let it get into my head. Also, Aaron decides to use grip hacks, so that's how he just drives away from everybody. But yeah, good win for Aaron, though. But still, I don't let Tony get in my head, even though he's like, oh, I'm going to pass you. Well, he tries to get in my head, but he fails all the time.
Well, and it looks like he wasn't successful here tonight either, as you're able to keep yourself up on top of Tony Hilbrand's tonight position-wise. And, right now, it's been the trend here between yourself and Tony Hilbrand's. It seems like no matter where you two end up on track, you're always up on top wherever Tony Hilbrand's is as far as position is concerned, and that's probably helped you in the championship. But with that out of the way, going forward, heading off into next week, heading to Gateway for the Gateway 200. How are you feeling about that race? Heading back to some more traditional oval racing and a little bit more of the usual settings here at VRL.
Gateway's not one of my favorite tracks, mainly because I always struggle there, but I kind of do decent enough. So hopefully Tony just has another bad week and just finishes in the back. But yeah, I mean, hopefully I make it. I'm supposed to be on Duluth for real life racing this weekend. So hopefully, I'm pretty sure I'll be back in time for the race next Monday. So hopefully we can maybe, I don't know, score another top 5, maybe a win.
Well, hopefully you come back from real life racing and get yourself a win with that kind of good luck in your shoes, I suppose. Anyway, Howie, I want to thank you again for joining me up here in the booth, taking home third place tonight here at Road America. A very challenging race that, frankly, that we saw here up in the booth, but you did a phenomenal job, able to come away with a podium. Before we let you go and celebrate tonight, is there anyone at home in the pit crew or watching the broadcast that you want to shout out and thank before you go?
Yeah, I gotta thank you for putting on the broadcast. Tony Hilbrand's as well for putting up the league. Grandmother and Granddad, they're upstairs. I don't know who else is watching, but everybody that watches supports the 97 team as well. We always try and do good, and I'm telling you, we're due for a win. We just don't know when it's going to happen, but we're going to get up there.
Absolutely. I love to hear it, Howie, and I look forward to seeing you next week at Gateway.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too, man.
Thank you. Howie Briss out of the booth here, taking home third place tonight. Daniel Mosteller's up next in the number 87 machine, taking home second place here tonight. Daniel, sir, do you have a read?
Yeah, I do.
Daniel, welcome up here to the booth. And frankly, this was kind of unexpected for myself personally. I wasn't really too certain who we were going to see up here kind of competing for the top 3 positions for today's race. The road courses are kind of an oddball, if you will, as far as who to expect to come across the checkered line in first or even a podium. Anyway, Daniel, you showed some pretty incredible pace out there. I mean, Aaron Smith just seemed to be absolutely untouchable throughout this race. Howie Briss even mentioned it, that he was using grip hacks to keep himself as quick as he was throughout the night. I mean, what do you think was there anything that you think you could have used to respond to the pace that Aaron was putting on tonight?
Absolutely not. Aaron is just incredible on road, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone beat him on road. So, yeah, when I saw him registered, I knew who you were going to be talking to last tonight. But myself, I was not expecting second at all. I am terrible on road. All of last season, I really struggled on road courses. I was extremely inconsistent, wrecking myself, and tonight it actually showed I was making a lot of mistakes, going off track, overdriving corners, locking up. But after the second yellow, I felt like I got in a groove, and I had pace that I was not expecting. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you again. Second. It's the third time in a row. It stings, but yeah, a lot of momentum going into the summer.
Absolutely. A lot of momentum indeed. And, frankly, you said that you were kind of shocked by your performance here tonight. And you mentioned that you were making a lot of mistakes. And, Dan, you weren't the only one. There were plenty of drivers here tonight that were making all kinds of mistakes, left and right. And, to go through and name them all, it would just be unfair. Because frankly, I don't think there was any one individual driver that didn't see themselves off track or involved in some sort of kerfluffle at some point during the race. But Dan, I mean, coming here to Road America and putting yourself up here on pole, what kind of confidence does that give you going forward into the rest of the season? I mean, just knowing that you have the ability to put yourself up here in contention for a podium position on a road course. I mean, what does that give you going forward, knowing that there's still a few more of these road courses left on the schedule?
It gives me a lot of confidence because, as I said, I really struggle on these road courses, and I had zero practice. I didn't even qualify, so I was walking in, not knowing exactly what I was going to expect. As I said, I made those mistakes, but I kept it clean towards the end and was able to hold off Howie barely.
Yeah, you did a phenomenal job holding him off, too. That was incredible. I mean, watching you two duke it off there, coming across the line, down the straightaway there, that was incredible. I mean, it was literally by inches between you two. That was just incredible. I love to see that action. But, Daniel, I want to congratulate you once again on taking home second place here tonight for the Dairyland 250. And before we let you go here tonight, crack one open and celebrate a well-earned podium here tonight. Is there anyone watching the broadcast, anyone at home or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank?
I want to thank you for broadcasting. You do a great job as always. I want to thank everyone for watching. It's always great having an audience. I want to thank the crew. Solid stops. Got the mileage out of the fuel. We were a little close at the end, but we were good. And I want to thank Tony and everyone that races. It's not possible without them.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me up here in the booth, Dan, and I look forward to seeing you next week at Gateway.
Yeah, I won't be here next week, but I will definitely be watching.
All right. Well, I look forward to seeing yourself in the live chat, and hopefully get to see you in future races.
All right.
Absolutely. Have a great night, Dan.
You too.
All right. Daniel Mosteller out of the booth, taking home second place in the number 87 machine tonight. Last, and certainly not least, the man of the hour, Aaron Smith, the guy who just cannot seem to be beaten on these road courses. Aaron, welcome to the booth, sir, and welcome to the podium here once again in this season. Aaron, it just seems like you are absolutely unstoppable on these road courses, and, given that, you mentioned it through quite a few broadcasts already, that your intention isn't exactly to show up every single race, but you come every race you show up, you're up here in the podium. What's up with that, Aaron?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I just really like these cars. I mean, the setups are great. They're really loose, and I like loose. So fortunately, all these races work out in my favor. I don't know what happened last week, but it didn't go well for me. But the rest of them should.
Absolutely. I mean, it's always great just seeing yourself out there on track and performing the way that you are. You're an extremely strong competitor and really giving a lot of these guys that are competing for the championship a run for their money here week after week. But either way, Aaron, when you came across the line, do you know how much of a gap you had between yourself and Daniel when you came across the line for the finish?
Yeah, I had 20 seconds, but I would have had 30 if I didn't spin myself out coming to the white. I don't know what I did wrong there. I was just looking down at my phone through the little hole in my headset, and it went and wrecked myself. But that was unfortunate, but I didn't hit anything, and it cost me my 0x race, so that was unfortunate. But, I mean, I still won the race, so, I mean, I'll take it any way I can get it.
Oh, man, the precious 0x. Man, it's... You have to be an iRacing subscriber to know the pain of seeing that incident point come across your screen, and it's pain. Anyway, Aaron, the next question that I have here for you, this is going to be your 5th win here for the season. Now, again, You mentioned earlier in the season that you're not exactly here to contend for the championship. You're here to have fun and just perform as well as you have. What are you kind of expecting here for the rest of the season? I mean, are you expecting to attend more races now that you're really starting to show some really solid performance? I mean, well, you've shown incredible performance all season long. What am I talking about? But given how strong you're performing here, and given how many wins that you've taken, I mean, what are your plans for the rest of the season?
Well, I've been gaining quite a few points on the leaders there in the point standings, but I don't know if I have what it takes to get all the way back up to them before the season ends. But I'll try. I mean, I'd like to make the rest of the season. I can guarantee about 5 more wins before this thing's all said and done, but we'll see.
Still a long season left to go, and I mentioned it in the broadcast just a little while ago that 3 more races after this one, and we will be halfway through the season. So, I mean, you still have plenty of time to kind of just chip away at that point standings and possibly put yourself in contention with the guys that are really the top 7 right now, are kind of all very close to one another in points. But anyhow, Aaron, I won't take up any more of your time here tonight. I want to give you your time to give your shout outs and thank yous to anyone in the pit crew watching the broadcast or at home for your success here tonight at Road America.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody at the Velocity Racing League for putting the show on, you broadcasting, all the folks for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it wherever we are next week.
Absolutely. Next week we're heading to Gateway, and hopefully get to see yourself up here in the podium here once again heading into next week.
All right, thank you. I'll give it my best shot. I'm not too good at Gateway, but we'll see.
Well, hopefully we'll see some interesting results. But either way, Aaron, thank you for coming up here and joining me in the booth, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Alrighty, folks, that is going to conclude our coverage today of the Dairyland 250 for the 2022 VRL Cup Series. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad. I'm bringing you the action here tonight. I want to thank you all for tuning in and watching here tonight. If you enjoyed the action, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Catch all the action that we have here on Team Goon Squad 7 days a week. Once again, thank you all for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all next week, same time, same place, for the Gateway 200 at Gateway. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next week.